In the 21st century, a new trend has emerged where billionaires are not just influencing industries but are also venturing into urban development. Figures like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Marc Lore are spearheading projects to build cities from scratch, aiming to address modern challenges through innovative designs and technologies. These initiatives reflect a growing desire among billionaires to create urban environments that align with their visions for the future, potentially reshaping how cities are conceptualized and built. The idea of billionaires building their own cities might sound like a plot from a sci-fi movie, but it's rooted in real-world frustration and bold ambition. When we peel back the layers, we find that these ultra-wealthy individuals aren't just chasing grandeur, they're responding to genuine problems they believe current systems can't solve. Let's break down the why behind these futuristic city projects. Elon Musk's vision isn't limited to Earth. His long-term mission involves colonizing Mars. But before sending humans to the Red Planet, he's testing ideas on Earth, particularly in Texas. In the quiet town of Boca Chica, Musk is developing Starbase, an unincorporated area that's more than a launch pad for SpaceX rockets. It's his prototype for off-planet civilization. Starbase combines rocket testing, employee housing, and infrastructure designed for self-sufficiency. Musk has mentioned his desire for the city to become inclusive, futuristic, and governed with a fresh perspective, hinting at his libertarian inclinations and desire for decentralization. Just 50 miles away, Snailbrook is quietly emerging. First revealed in 2023, it's part of Musk's broader vision to create efficient, affordable, and livable spaces for Tesla, Boring Company, and SpaceX workers. Housing, dining, schools, and parks are all in the blueprint. The idea is to eliminate long commutes, reduce living costs, and foster a high-performance workforce ecosystem. At the heart of it, Musk is asking, what if a city was designed not by bureaucrats but by technologists? Now let's switch gears. While Musk dreams of Martian colonies, Bill Gates has his eyes set on transforming life here on Earth. In 2017, Gates made headlines after investing $80 million into a plot of desert land outside Phoenix, Arizona. His goal? Build Belmont, a smart city of the future. The concept behind Belmont is deeply rooted in technology integration, fiber optic networks, autonomous vehicle lanes, smart grids, and data-driven city planning. What makes Gates' vision compelling is its focus on functionality. The idea isn't to create a luxury playground, but a living laboratory. Belmont would test and refine technologies that could then be applied to improve existing cities around the globe. Think of it as Silicon Valley meets SimCity, but with real streets, schools, and homes. Meanwhile, Snailbrook, the town Musk is reportedly building for employees near Bastrop, Texas, also ran into legal and bureaucratic red tape. Reports have highlighted water rights issues, environmental concerns, and debates over whether Musk's private interests could override public policy. Critics question whether building a company town violates worker protections or concentrates too much influence in the hands of one employer. Similarly, Bill Gates' Belmont project has faced delays, not because of tech limitations, but due to municipal planning slowdowns and land development permits. As of 2024, the site remains mostly empty desert, though plans continue in the background. Large-scale city planning requires enormous collaboration between private developers and government entities, and such collaboration rarely happens fast. A deeper concern lies at the heart of all these projects. Should individuals, no matter how brilliant or wealthy, control entire cities? Critics of billionaire-built cities argue that concentrating too much power in one person's hands creates a democracy deficit. What happens when decisions about zoning, infrastructure, policing, or healthcare are made by private executives rather than elected officials? This echoes concerns raised by labor unions and community advocates about Musk's Snailbrook. In historical context, company towns in the early 20th century were notorious for exploitative labor practices. While Snailbrook may offer subsidized rent and convenience, skeptics warn it could lead to surveillance, economic dependency, or coercion. Marc Lore's Telosa attempts to tackle this by designing an open governance model from the ground up, including citizen assemblies, transparent leadership, and community-owned land. But even Telosa has faced scrutiny. Can a utopia really be designed by one man? And what happens if the project's leadership changes or fails? The ethical question looms large. Are these cities engines of progress or techno-feudalism in disguise? Even with money, even with vision, building a city from scratch is one of the hardest things you can attempt. Just think about what needs to come together. Power grids, water supply systems, sewer lines, roads, highways and mass transit, schools and hospitals, broadband and cell networks, emergency services, food distribution and supply chains. Each of these requires planning, permits, suppliers, and contractors. And all of it has to be sustainable, scalable, and safe. Moreover, if the cities are to succeed, they need people. Not just employees or tech enthusiasts, but families, workers, educators, doctors, and service providers. That means the cities need to be attractive, affordable, and livable, not just futuristic. And of course, the climate crisis adds another layer. But beyond the gadgets, Gates' plan touches on a fundamental truth. Current cities weren't designed for the tech we use today. Urban sprawl, poor infrastructure, and outdated transportation systems are bottlenecks that hold back progress. Gates believes starting from scratch is the only way to make meaningful changes. Enter Marc Lore, former president and CEO of Walmart US e-commerce. He's not just planning a city, he's planning a new society. Lore unveiled his idea of Telosa in 2021 and it immediately turned heads. The projected cost? A whopping $400 billion. The scale? 150,000 acres in the American desert. The mission? To create the most open, the most fair, and the most inclusive city in the world. At the core of Telosa is a philosophy called equitism. Lore envisions a system where land is owned by a community endowment. As the city develops and land value increases, that value is reinvested into public services like education, healthcare, and housing. It's a blend of capitalism and socialism aiming to correct wealth disparity without eliminating incentive. Telosa would run on renewable energy, recycle water, and use vertical farming. Its transportation would be fully electric and autonomous. Buildings would be sustainable and design would emphasize walkability, access, and equality. If Musk wants to innovate governance and Gates wants to integrate tech, Lore wants to redefine capitalism itself. These billionaire-backed cities reflect different dreams, but they all share a sense of dissatisfaction with the status quo. They believe current systems, urban, economic, and political, are outdated and resistant to innovation. So, they're building new ones. From scratch. In the next part, we'll explore the challenges these projects face, politics, land use, logistics, and the ethics of private city ownership. If you thought billionaires building their own cities was all futuristic glitz and glam, think again. Behind the glossy renderings and high-minded goals lie enormous, real-world obstacles. From zoning laws to ethical concerns, these ventures aren't just about breaking ground, they're about breaking barriers entrenched in politics, public perception, and legal frameworks. Let's talk about the elephants in the room. You can't just wake up one day, buy land, and declare it a city. Not in the US at least. Establishing a city requires navigating a complex web of local, state, and federal laws, dealing with environmental regulations, zoning boards, and often, fierce public scrutiny. Take Elon Musk's Starbase project in Texas. In 2021, Musk tweeted his intention to incorporate the area of Boca Chica into a city named Starbase. The problem? Cameron County officials quickly responded, saying Musk's ambitions would require approval, legal restructuring, and adherence to state law. While SpaceX's infrastructure has transformed the town, full incorporation has yet to materialize. These cities claim to be eco-friendly but actually building with sustainability in mind, especially in harsh desert climates like Arizona or Nevada, can be prohibitively expensive and technologically complex. Lastly, let's talk money. These projects cost billions. Even for people like Musk and Gates, pouring hundreds of millions into unproven city concepts is risky. Will they ever be profitable? Or are they passion projects, long-term investments in legacy rather than ROI? Marc Lore's Telosa, for example, has yet to secure all of the estimated $400 billion it needs. Investors want returns, and city building is rarely a fast profit play. So far, we've explored the grand visions, the hurdles, and the ethical debates swirling around these billionaire-built cities. Now, let's ask a big question that's on everyone's mind. What does all of this mean for the rest of us? Are these cities destined to become isolated, high-tech utopias for the rich? Or are they pilot programs for a better future, one that might eventually help solve real problems in mainstream America? Let's break it down. So, despite the headlines and high hopes, these ventures walk a tightrope. Vision without execution is fantasy. Execution without trust is failure. And failure in these high-profile cases could mean billions of dollars and reputations lost. At the heart of these projects is one powerful idea: start fresh. Legacy cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago are burdened by crumbling infrastructure, bloated bureaucracies, rising housing costs, traffic congestion, and overregulation. Fixing these systems can feel like trying to rebuild a plane mid-flight. So what if, instead of retrofitting broken systems, you just build a whole new plane from the ground up? That's what excites urban planners and futurists about cities like Belmont, Telosa, and Starbase. If even one of these cities succeeds in creating smarter transit, cheaper housing, more efficient energy grids, and transparent governance, the model could be replicated nationwide. Imagine a city where every home runs on renewable energy. Waste is automatically sorted and recycled. Autonomous vehicles eliminate traffic jams. Digital currency speeds up transactions. Everyone has access to affordable internet, housing, and healthcare. It's not just about building for billionaires. It's about proving that better is possible. Here's the catch: while the promises are inclusive, the entry points may not be. So far, much of the hiring and residential planning around cities like Snailbrook and Starbase is centered around Musk's companies Tesla, Boring Company, and SpaceX. That means these towns are primarily designed to serve employees and engineers. It's less of a public city, more of a corporate campus with housing and amenities. Similarly, Belmont remains in planning limbo with little transparency on who will be invited to live there or how much it will cost. Critics fear that smart cities could become gated tech communities, places where the wealthy live cleaner, safer lives while the rest are left behind. Marc Lore's Telosa is the exception, loudly promoting diversity, access, and affordability. But even Telosa is expected to require significant buy-in, both financially and ideologically. Residents will have to believe in the city's founding principles of equitism and be willing to live under an experimental governance model. That's a big ask. So the question remains, are these cities prototypes for the many or playgrounds for the few? Let's say these cities do thrive. What then? Optimists believe they'll serve as testing grounds. If Starbase proves solar-powered homes and self-driving shuttles work seamlessly, maybe we'll see more adoption in Miami or Milwaukee. If Telosa's land ownership model helps reduce inequality, other towns might follow suit. In this way, billionaire-built cities become labs for innovation, offering blueprints for public cities to copy. Just like Silicon Valley drove the tech boom, these future cities might trigger an urban planning revolution. But there's also a darker scenario. Some fear a growing urban divide where rich, private cities pull further away from the challenges of everyday America. Schools in billionaire cities might be AI-enhanced and tuition-free, while schools in Flint, Michigan still struggle with funding. Housing may be abundant in Snailbrook while housing crises explode elsewhere. It's the risk of a two-tier America, one gleaming and privatized, the other neglected and public. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Some experts propose partnerships between public municipalities and private city developers. If billionaires can pilot new models for sustainability, education, and housing, governments can adopt those learnings without ceding full control. Imagine cities that combine the agility of private capital with the accountability of democratic oversight. Imagine public infrastructure built with the precision of Tesla but the transparency of your local town hall. It's possible, but only if collaboration becomes a central goal. In our final chapter, Part 5, we'll examine what the future holds. Which of these projects is most likely to succeed? And how should the average American think about a world where billionaires build the cities we may one day live in? We've journeyed through the bold ambitions, the challenges, and the ethical crossroads of billionaire-built cities. Now let's talk about the future, the realistic outlook. Will these megavisions reshape America or fade into the background like so many high-tech pipe dreams before them? Let's explore what's next for each major project and how it could impact your future. Let's start with Elon Musk Starbase, located in Boca Chica, Texas. Though it's still far from being a functioning city in the traditional sense, it's already having a massive impact on the region. SpaceX's presence has brought jobs, infrastructure upgrades, and a renewed focus on STEM education. Musk's long-term plan? A full-fledged city to support space exploration, complete with launch pads, residential zones, research centers, and more. He's even hinted that Starbase could be the starting point for humanity's multiplanetary expansion, a kind of base camp for Mars colonization. But it's not without friction. Locals have reported property disputes, pressure to sell homes, and growing environmental concerns. If Starbase grows, Musk may need to balance private ambition with public interest more delicately. Verdict? most likely to disrupt traditional urban development but could remain a corporate town with limited access unless broader inclusivity is enforced. Bill Gates Belmont is perhaps the most traditional of all these ventures and ironically the slowest moving. Despite purchasing nearly 25,000 acres near Phoenix, Arizona back in 2017, little actual construction has taken place. But don't count it out yet. The project's focus is on high-efficiency infrastructure, data-driven traffic management, autonomous vehicles, smart homes, and climate-conscious urban design. As Arizona's population continues to surge, Belmont could quietly become a testing ground for how to modernize suburbs at scale. The key obstacle? Speed and public cooperation. Unlike Musk, Gates isn't trying to own the city, he wants to catalyze innovation, not control it. That might actually be a longer game, but one with broader appeal. Verdict? Most likely to integrate with existing public systems, offering innovations for cities everywhere if it ever breaks ground. Marc Lore's Telosa is the wild card. It's not anchored to a tech company or a utility project. It's a visionary city designed to push the boundaries of governance, equality, and sustainability. Lore's idea of equitism is powerful, a society where land is community-owned, profits are reinvested into services, and decisions are made by transparent, accountable institutions. Think of it as a startup democracy. Of all the billionaire-led efforts, Telosa is the most people-centric. But it also faces the greatest hurdles, raising $400 billion, finding a suitable location, and proving that utopian values can work in the real world. As of 2025, the project is still in the early design and land acquisition stages. Yet, if Lore succeeds, Telosa could become a beacon, a working model of how future cities might not just function better, but feel better to live in. Verdict? Most likely to inspire a movement even if it doesn't finish first. Even if none of these cities become fully realized in the next decade, the impact is already visible. Governments are now more open to innovation in zoning, sustainability, and smart transit. Traditional developers are adopting tech-forward approaches, borrowing ideas from Belmont and Telosa. Cities like Austin, Miami, and Tulsa are now courting tech entrepreneurs, hoping to blend public policy with private investment. And most importantly, young people are beginning to dream differently about what a city could be. We may not all live in Starbase or Telosa, but we will see their influence trickle into our daily lives, from faster commutes to smarter grids to better housing policies. When historians look back at the early 21st century, they may not just talk about tweets, Teslas, or TikTok. They might talk about the moment when billionaires stopped investing in apps and started investing in cities. Are these efforts perfect? No. Are they risky? Absolutely. But they represent something bigger than self-interest, a belief that the current system is broken and that new models are worth trying. Whether these cities soar or stumble, they challenge us to think boldly, to dream of places where equity, technology, and sustainability aren't in competition but in harmony. And maybe, just maybe, that's the first step toward the future we all want to live in.